Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. So I'm gonna do a crystal, and then a little story time. And this crystal kind of remind me of, I don't know if you guys are like 70s babies, but you will remember Flash Gordon. It kind of remind me like one of those crystals that's on the planet. They're like Flash, oh, Masters of the Universe, Flash Gordon. It just kind of reminded me of that, so I was like, yeah, this is called an Argonite. Argonite. The Argonite is grounding, is for stability and patience. It's the element of earth and is a chakra, root chakra. The root chakra, which is your foundation, your foot, your legs that keep the balance. And the yeah, that's it. So it's frequently found in star-shaped clusters. That's why I brought up a Flash Garden, because Flash Garden was he had powers, and he was kind of like similar. I feel like it was a spinoff of He-Man, but the planet had a lot of crystals there. And if you go back and you see, it also has like a spiritual theme to it as well, with powers and magic and all those kind of things. So, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so the Argonite, grounding, stability, patience. The element is earth, and the chakra is the root. Frequently found in star-shaped clusters, Argonite is deep connection to nature, goes beyond its earthy appearance. In fact, initially discovered in Spain and now mined in various countries, this stone is celebrated for its outstanding grounding properties. Think of it as an anchor, keeping you present and steady no matter what life throws at you. In addition to its stabilizing energy, Argonite also promotes patience, acceptance, and a strong sense of integrity without sliding into close-mindedness or stubbornness. When to use it: for meditation or other spiritual practices, when traveling or moving. Where to put it: keep it in your pocket, purse, or car to enjoy its stabilizing properties wherever you go. Special care: avoid exposure to abrasive substances and extreme temperatures. And the affirmation is, I am safe in the present moment. I am safe in the present moment. That is beautiful. And I love that, because you always want to know that wherever your environment is, in your neighborhood, uh, even if you have neighbors that don't speak or whatever, you just always want to know that you're safe. There's no harm coming to your yard. Um, there's no porch pirates, things like that. And it's a beautiful thing. So I did want to just say that. Also, I wanted to have a little story time. It's not going to be too long. I'm not going to keep you guys too long, I know, because I could be a little chatterbox. But I just wanted to talk about, I had in my last video was the Western medicine. And how sometimes people wish bad things on you, and then if you're not protecting and cleansing your area, or being mindful with your prayer. Like I always say, I have this one, I've learned this because of the saging and doing a spiritual bath, which I'm going to try to practice more. I did one since I've learned about spirituality, about once or twice a year. And you know, your tools and these things, you have to make sure that you're very aware about what you're doing. You don't want to do something and invite certain things into your space, right? But anyhow, I was talking about Western medicine, how they have people stuck on certain pharmaceuticals. And now I'm not going to say there's, anything wrong with some of the stuff. Maybe some of the things do save people's lives. It does help to keep, if you have a bad heart, you have a pacemaker, or you have cardio problems, or you're asthmatic, or what have you. I don't know what, as far as pharmaceuticals done, but for me, as I had said in my I probably uploaded that's probably weeks and weeks ago, but I remember talking about being not too well, and I went because I did have a lot of stress. I was taking on a lot of worries and things like that, and still dealing with my daughter. If you're new to the channel, I was very vocal about my youngest, going to the streets and choosing the street life and things like that, and getting herself in situations to where she does not reside with me. And so at the time, I was like emotional eating and things, and eating things that I didn't, just to feel good. Like, I'm not supposed to have certain dairy and things like that. And I would just be making all types of things, and making a charcuterie board, and, knowing that I'm not supposed to be consuming like salty items like pretzels and popcorn, and um, little slices of cheese, and puddings, spicy garlic, and all these things that has a lot of sodium. So I feel like I spiked myself up because I do know better. And so with my dietary needs and things like that, I try to eat as clean as I can, right? And then when you have a little bit of background where there's a lot of foods that or have a lot of starch, and so I know I wasn't supposed to, and I did anyhow, right? Okay, so with that being said, I didn't want to take the medication because, but my daughter was like, Mommy, I'm concerned. I don't want, nothing happened to you, whatever. And, not to say it's nothing wrong with me listening to my baby and stuff, but sometimes you got to go with your gut and your intuition. And because I know sometimes with myself, and that's why I'm a loner, I feel like sometimes people's advice and not listening to my own and being still and just trying to find the answers and in prayer. I noticed that I it's never for my betterment. Like it's nothing for me to go forward and say, oh, it's good for me to listen. I should not have. I shouldn't have listened, only because I know that the body can heal itself depending on how severe or whatever your situations. I feel like you could speak to your body. You could start to treat it a certain kind of way with your consumption of what you're eating. And I realized that a lot of the foods I was consuming turned into sugar because, of course, uh, if you do anything as far as like learning the earth and the elements, the earth doesn't really produce anything white. If it does, it's off white. We do know cauliflower and broccoli are man-made vegetables and things like that. So nothing is truly white that comes from the earth, right? And so, um, with that being said, I realized that I did this to myself. I went down a certain weight, um, and then I gained my weight right back uh, when I started to have domestic situations with my baby girl. And I was like, oh my God, now I'm emotional eating or whatever. So what have you, my point is, I got to the point where I almost killed myself, basically, with the eating. And especially the foods that I was eating. Because if I was just munching on like fruits and vegetables and juicing like I usually do, I started to try, and I was like, oh, I want to try this and do this foolishness and the trend and all that stuff, and got caught up in being glutton. And it's, gluttony is a spirit thing. Um, I remember in the Bible, that's something that's looked down upon. You shouldn't be glutton when it comes to financial or through food or trying to consume too much of anything, right? And I realized that that was on my spirit, gluttony. And I just wanted to share with you guys to say that be careful of the things that we consume. Confirmation. Be careful of the things that you consume. Now I'm doing a 30-minute walk. I try to get up as early in the morning because it does get hot here in Vegas and Nevada, period. And so I know certain places, like they say Mount Charleston and certain places like that, or it's very cool. It's not as hot. Lake Mead and the Colorado River and things like that. But anyhow, I realized that I did it to myself because I kept trying to be a foodie and was like, oh, you YOLO and all this kind of stuff and trying things I'm not supposed to. And then, my daughters are, they're in their 20s and stuff, so their metabolism is much faster than mine. I should know better that I'm not no spring chicken to be eating all these things, right? But anyhow, I said that to say this, that health is wealth. And yeah, I do have a channel where I talk about health and fitness and things like that. And I'm noticing that I have to practice what I preach. I can't just be talking about it. I have to be about it. But when I started my new liberal AI channel, 66DNA AI videos, where I, have quotes of the greats before us, people that's present, great images, either if it's sports or, yeah, athletic, great people like poets like Maya Angelou and women that have prominent, powerful voices, especially for the people of color. I try to put those images out there. Well, not the image, but basically there's like a image I chose, and I would say the quotes on the AI and things like that. I try to do the new age people and mix it in between. But anyhow, that was just my testimony that you got to be careful how you're eating and watch and be mindful for long life to preserve. Of course life is unpredictable, but you try to be very mindful and still think and say that I do have long life. I am going to continue to live on this earth and do the best I can, um, and to live a clean life and have a great diet. I cannot wait till I graduate to just eating raw foods instead of having to prepare foods. But right now I still do like try to do pescatarian mixed with a lot of veggies, and then if I do want to eat some type of bread, if I still feel like I'm not filled